7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Another episode of EuroGarage, guys. Today I'm going to be showing you how to wrap a car. I'm using 3M matte metallic wrap, and it's turning out real good so far. But I'm basically going to go start to finish, all the steps you need to get a good looking wrap. Now I've done most of the car, and you'll see, but I've decided on this panel, because it's an especially tricky one, would be a good one to show you and give an example of and show all the processes. But it takes a lot of finesse and patience to do this correctly. I've learned that over the course of the whole thing. I've had to do a couple panels over, and I've never done this before, so it's been a learning experience. But essentially, I'm trying to shorten that down, condense it, and get it out to the viewers and make sure you guys understand. Here we go. So here's pretty much what you'll need to wrap a car. Firstly, you need a wrap. I used 3M. Actually, the color is charcoal metallic, and it's a matte finish. I like it quite a bit. This is the silver versus the charcoal metallic. It's slightly browner. I think it looks good on the car. Now, I've been getting this question a lot of how much does a wrap cost? And I figure I'll put that to rest right now. You can pretty much get this much vinyl, which is 5 foot by about 24 yards, or you could even get away with 60 feet, so 5 foot by 60 feet. So $500 to $700, 3M wrap, do the 3M, everything else is crap. You need denatured alcohol and a rag to get the surface prepped. You need probably one of these boxes of utility blades, or one of those extendable blades that are very sharp because you constantly have to change blades. You need magnets if you can to hold the wrap if you're doing it yourself. You probably want some of this electrical tape. That helps a lot when you're measuring panels, because you can lay the tape over in the same shape as the panel and you'll get a good, accurate measurement for length that you can cut to. I used a pick like this to get under the windshield, and then you need a card, or when 3M sells them, they're like these plastic scraper things. They have felt ones, they have small corner ones, that sort of thing. Just get some sort of card to get the air bubbles out. This is an edge sealer, and this is pretty necessary for parts like under the car. You see that? Parts under the car, or the inside of fenders, or the behind the bumpers and things like that. Parts that you never want to come up. You just seal that over it. It's like a thin paint, or a thick paint, sorry, like a urethane, and it seals the edges so they don't peel. Lastly, you need a heat gun. This is extremely important. I can't emphasize this enough. Without a heat gun, you have no wrap. Now, assuming you've already done all the necessary preparations, as in body work and filling all your dents and things like that, the first step is going to be cleaning. This is an extremely important step, as you want your wrap to stick well. So I just take denatured alcohol, throw it on a rag, and go over my whole surface. Everything you want to wrap must be clean. Now, pro tip, if you don't clean the inside of your wheel arches, your wrap isn't going to stick. So that's very important. You got to get in there. There's a lot of gunk in there. And you're going to wrap it up into it and then stick it on the back. If you expect to stick it to that, you're going to be SOL. Now another good step is that anything you can remove needs to be removed. Because if you try to wrap it around this gas cap or a door handle or the bumper, it's not going to look as good. If you can just take the time to remove the gas cap and the bumper, it'll look a lot better. Measure out the size of vinyl that you need. Now you can do this with a tape measure, but I just like to use electrical tape. It's just cheap stuff from Harbor Freight, doesn't matter what kind of tape you use. And I'll measure just about 2 inches over on each side, just to give me some space. Try not to keep it too tight, and then I'll run it over like the biggest part of it. All the way to where I want to finish. I can lay it right over my vinyl and then just cut it. So for step 3, I'm cutting my vinyl. I take the big sheet, I lay it out on a flat surface, I pull it. I stick the template down at one end. Once I've done this, I just take a very sharp razor blade and I cut it as straight as I can. So now, I'm going to pin it with the magnets and trim it to size. This is just my personal experience. I found that to start in the middle on the flattest space. So what you're going to see me do is start with this piece right here. I'm going to stick it down, starting in the center, and work my way out, and then I'll go up, and lastly I'll go down. Now there's no easy way to cut the backing to get it to just there, so essentially I have to pull all the way down, stick it, and make sure that I don't get any gunk up here. So, the way that works the best to apply it is either with a card or your hand, but you need to make sure that you don't get any air bubbles left in it, so you have to get it ready. And then I'm doing this by myself, so I'll put just a little tension on the sheet, and then I'll rub down it, and I'll be able to get it taut and shaped properly. Let me reiterate, technique is everything when it comes to wrapping. So now I'm going over it with my hand again and chasing any air bubbles with the card. Now you don't want to be too hard with the card because you do not want to scratch your finish. This is critical that you go over and you remove any air bubbles. Now, after I'm confident I got most of the air bubbles out, I take a heat gun and I just pass it over fairly warm, and some more will pop up, and I just work them out with the card. Now we're nice and close here, and you can see how I'm following this body line and making sure I don't put any air bubbles in it. So now that I've gotten that middle bit stuck down nicely and there's no air bubbles, I can go and I can work my way up the car. So I'm going to give this just a little heat so it's nice and pliable. And then I'll follow this contour line like I was before. How tight this is, I'm going to heat it up a bit. And look at that. Nice and soft. So I've got a pretty big compound curve here at the back. And essentially what a compound curve is it curves in multiple directions. Now this curves this way, and sort of this way at the very bottom, but that's not as noticeable. Now the fastest way to do these is to pull the whole thing up just a little bit to give you some working material. And then heat it all up. Get the whole thing hot so you don't end up with creases. And now that it's warm, make sure to keep it tight. And then work it all out. Okay.
Bring 'em. Step it up. Check it.
Yeah.
Bring 'em.
So after you've gone and you've stuck everything down like I have, you go and you have to lay it down and then trim it essentially. Now I just will take a heat gun, heat it up, press it into where I want it, and then trim it to size.
What?